Great. Welcome to Prerona Television Canada on behalf of Global Academy of Holistic Leadership and Coaching. It is my honor and privilege to uh, uh, continue with our leadership speaker series. And today is our 61 episode. And today's our topic is leadership and self journey. As usual, we'll be discussing about leadership and leadership skill. And today's we'll be discussing about leadership aspirations, leading by examples, and leadership growth. Our regular speaker and trainer, Advocate Jiaur Rahman, is with us, and he is the CEO of IHM, Adjunct Faculty of Independent University. Thank you very much, those who are following with us. Now I welcome Advocate Jiaur Rahman, and please continue with your session. Thank you.
Good. Good evening. Good evening in Canada and good morning in Bangladesh and rest of the world. We have been following this session for the last, we have been conducting this session for the last 1 year and a few months. And today's session is on leadership and self-journey. So let me start off by opening my slide first. Okay, good. I believe we can see each other. Leadership and self-journey. We have two issues together, the journey of yourself and the leadership that you want to grow during your journey. Normally, I start off with some quotations, so I will move into my presentation. This is by a website, but it says, life is too short to spend it at war with yourself. This is not by Socrates, but it's just accidentally, it is by this website that you can see. Life is too short to spend it at war with yourself. So what this means is that you as a professional, you have too many things to do. You have too many focus areas. So if you're spending your time in negative energy, and if you're pushing yourself in the wrong directions and keeping grudge and building animosity with others and people around you, then you're actually cutting yourself too short. You're actually moving in a direction where you're not driven by passion, you're not driven by empathy, you're not driven by peace and inner happiness. So the self journey that we are talking about starts with a realization that you have to be at peace with yourself. If you're at peace with yourself, then only you can be at peace with others. So how do we get to that state of mind? It is a state of mind that we can arrive at through constant realization, constant practice, constant inner assessment of what is it that is important in our lives and how we can get to that position. It's not about a rat race. We should not be considering life as a competitive spirit only. We have to be thinking of life as a spirit where you are working with the rest of the society, rest of the business ecosystem, societal ecosystem, to create some kind of harmonized living for you and the rest of the people around you. So you ought not to be in a warring type of mindset, and that will actually hurt you. It will hurt your immediate environment. People around you would be always worried about you, and they will have their safeguards put up against you. So even if you try to engage in an open and frank discussions at points, people will be worried that you might go into some kind of attacking character assassination type of situation with these people. So that's not proper leadership. That does not build the framework of a vibrant ecosystem, a vibrant system where people are allowed to grow themselves as human beings. So I would suggest that if you feel that there is a level of animosity that is brewing with someone else, take this initiative to actually address those issues rather than having them pent up and internalizing them. It's sometimes better to actually open up a conversation with someone with whom maybe there are certain areas which are not so effective, not so clear at this point, and you feel that there are areas where you have been marginalized or somebody is unduly taking advantage of you. So through conversation, through a discussion, you might come to a situation where you might realize that there is a huge amount of miscommunication that is going between you and the other person, and therefore the trust factor is not there, and which is culminating in more anger, anguish, and frustration. So you need to get on board with this philosophy that I need to understand myself. I need to know where I'm coming from, where is my inner peace, and if I can get to that inner strength area, the peace that actually can drive things forward, get those ideas, look into those ideas and apply them externally into your environment, and that is how you might be overcoming a lot of areas, lot of uh, flashpoints in your life. So you can't be focused on war or war type mindset because life is really too short. Let's engage in the spirit of developing ourselves through effective communication and effective planning and being proper and responsible and having a good, warm behavior all around you, and putting that smile out on a daily basis can do wonders. So moving forward, this is by Imam Ali. He says, silence is the best reply to a fool. This is absolutely a brilliant short quotation. If you're across a fool, somebody who is not willing to take the logic in, then what's the use of trying to convince that person to come roundabout and understand the logic that you're trying to bring forth? It will not work. It will be a useless journey. You will be frustrating yourself. You will not be with an inner peace with yourself, because your frustrations are rising because you know what you're saying makes sense. You know that you are offering a logical solution or some form of logic driven thought process you have been projecting to this person, but this person is completely walking on the fringes of logic and not allowing any sort of practical sense and logical sense to flow into the conversation. He or she is just gripping onto his or her ego and suggesting that no, I don't want to follow your way. I know my way is better. Let me follow my way, and you need to follow my way. So there is a certain level of discomfort that is rising between you and that person. So at that point, if you are trying to again put that person on the limelight and tell that person or show to that person that this is where you are wrong, that person might take an even stronger ego trip and think that you are unduly exposing that person, and he or she may be even more firmer in his or her resolve not to change. So it will not pan out nicely. It will be an ineffective conversation. So all communication and all conversation from a leader's point of view has to make some form of meaning. If you're speaking to someone, if you're sharing some thoughts, you have to be able to convey the right spirit, convey the right message, and make sure the audience is understanding what you're saying. So if you're across a fool and you're trying to share your thoughts and he or she is not at all willing to take in your thoughts, then it's a complete wasteful exercise. You're just wasting your energy, and that is not a smart thing to do as a leader. So silence is sometimes the best strategy in front of a fool. So moving forward, this is by Nitin Namadio. It says, self-discovery begins with self-love. You have to love yourself enough to find yourself. Powerful statement. What it says that you have to find yourself before you can go out and give others direction. You can't give people direction where you are not clear about the ways and means and the consequences that may come about from this decision. So you have to be building your senses based on truly finding yourself within that space, within that ecosystem where you are currently engaging with your counterpart or a number of people in front of you. So a leader has to really find himself or herself within the domain of the activities that he or she is engaged in. So if I'm a leader, assume I'm a leader in the sales industry, finding myself is being able to know my strength areas, my weakness areas, what ticks within me, how I need to get myself energized, geared, what are the things that makes me more positive, those type of things, the high impact energy bolts that I need. I know what they are and how I can get them to be part of my a journey for self growth. So it's about the journey that we're talking about, your self journey for a better human being, your self journey for a more efficient professional. That's something we are striving towards. And if you have the understanding of what takes, what is responsible to bring the flare up within your soul, within yourself, then if you can ignite those sparks, if you can ignite those spirits, then only you will find yourself in a passionate position to actually move yourself from the level that you are in terms of your capacity, in terms of your knowledge, your skills, to a greater height, because you have passionately addressed this issue. You are passion driven now, and when passion is dictating you with logic, then obviously you are destined for a higher uh, growth in your life. So as a leader in any field, we must find ourselves, find who we are and what type of mindset that we ought to be having, or what we truly are. And is there a way to mold ourselves forward with better potential outcome uh, for us and for the people around us? So this is the kind of spirit that we have to hold onto and cherish, and that's when we actually effectively grow as a human being, as a professional and as a leader. So moving forward, this is a quotation from unknown source. It says, weak people revenge, strong people forgive, and intelligent people ignore. Um, I may not be completely sure about the ignore part, but what this statement is suggesting is that when you are a weak person, you will go into a argument with someone else. You will try to push your ideas onto a certain decision making process, and you will try to exert your viewpoint, thinking that if you don't, then you're losing out. So you want to show your strength, you want to show your capacity as a professional or as a leader in some engagement, and that dynamic is not proper, because if you truly want to serve the people, if you truly want to lead, then there you might want to hold yourself back. You don't want to win every single battle. You don't want to win every single battle. You want to win the war. So you have to be able to negotiate certain pockets of discomfort and say, hey, I don't want to deal with this, because if I deal with this now, then my ultimate objective will not be coming forth. So I rather lose on this area. I rather get myself focused on the larger, bigger outcome, the bigger vision that I'm holding on to. And these small issues, let me overstep these issues. And that's the spirit of a smart person. So if you are weak at heart, if you feel that you need to win and every single process in any decision making initiative, then you are actually not going to be a good leader. People will not be very happy around you, because people will think that you're the Mr. Know It All kind of person, and whatever you say has to be accepted by others. Otherwise, you will create all kinds of stress and frustration until people reason with you, although your reasoning may not be the most appropriate reasoning. So that's where you are actually failing yourself without really knowing. You're thinking that you are growing and you're directing people, you're guiding people, and you're setting the tone of the organization. But in reality, you may be actually hurting your potential as a true leader. So you have to be very careful on this point. So strong people also forgive. If you are in a mode for forgiveness, it creates more inner peace. It creates more energy in the environment. It makes people feel that, okay, I have an opportunity to serve. I may do something wrong, but my boss, my leader, is allowing me to move about and forgiving me, even if I have done something wrong, even in terms of my behavior with that person. So I will have more respect and I will feel more comfortable around these people. So my inner journey as a human being and the journey of all the others in that capacity will be very effective, and people will be feeling much more energized, much more vibrant, much more excited to deliver the output that the organization is seeking. If it's an organization, if it's a community, then the community spirit will be much more thriving, and a lot of actions will take place within that community, because people would be charged. People will feel that yes, I may do a little bit some I may do some wrong at points, but my boss or the people who I respect will not castigate me. So that's very important. So strong people should be focused on forgiving the juniors from any mistakes that they may do. Obviously, you don't want the mistakes to be repeated, but if you are in a position to be empathetic about the situation and sort of get a feel for why the mistakes are taking place and nurture and guide these people, then ultimately the positive environment will take place, and everybody's self journey in becoming a better person will actually kick in. And the last one is intelligent people ignore, in the sense that they are suggesting that if there is a problem, it's better to grab the problem by the horn and try to solve the problem. But at times there are issues which you sometimes need to ignore, because if you know that at this point, if you want to dabble in that problem, it can create more problem. It can go in different tangents. So it's better not to rock the boat at this point. So I believe this perspective was presented in that context, that if you're an intelligent person and if you know that certain things are not going to be proper at this point to discuss or bring to the table, I rather ignore it. And that's how I keep the comfort. I keep the inner harmony. I keep the overall peace within the environment. So that's also important. So sometimes you ought to be ignoring things which are not relevant, which are less relevant. And there are other much more important issue at play, where we should be spending time to improve upon. So life is about being smart. A leader has to be in a capacity not to take revenge of people. The leader has to have that capacity to forgive, and a leader has to have the capacity to be intelligently understanding what needs to be tabled, what issues are important at this point, and what issues can be softly avoided at this point. So moving forward, I normally have a quotation of mine, and today's quotation focused on the topic is leadership is about focusing on our inner journeys to arrive at a wholesome person ready to lead. The whole point is becoming a wholesome person, a person of humility, a person of respect, a person of dignity, a person of high ethical values and morals, a person who holds certain philosophy dear, a person who believes that this is the way forward and truly works towards that direction. So a person who has this mindset will be leading in society. So our jobs as human being is to find the inner journeys, inner areas of strength, the areas where we need to actually build our characters upon, build our entire mindset as human being. And if we make those journeys into understanding what is important for us as human beings and how we need to proceed in that direction, then you are slowly turning yourself into more affable person, more logical person, more engrossed person, more empathetic person. All the positive energies and positive vibes of a human being, if you are slowly building a strength focused area to become that person of great energy, you will become a ball of fire in terms of your human engagement, in terms of your spirit. So this leadership journey is about finding your inner self and making sure you are growing as in capacity to lead as a as a whole person, as a person with having a 360-degree angle as a leader. So moving forward, leadership aspirations. We can all think at the back of our minds that we are going to be leading in society. Thinking and acting it out are two different things. So aspirations ought to be there, meaning feeling for the change or transformation that you want to have in your own self journeys. So how do you go about that? Some of the issues that you need to tackle with on a regular basis that you should follow are given uh, out. For example, must be planned with logical steps. You have to be a person with a planned logical steps. You must plan your life with a logical set of consequences that you arrive at leadership not by accident, by following a certain structure, following a certain way of doing things and developing yourself. So that's something that you have to be looking into, and that is your leadership aspiration curve. You can move with a potential leadership aspiration if you are building yourself based on a logical planned steps that you take in your life. Rooted in knowledge and skills, a leader must have a certain level of knowledge and obviously skills. If you are a subject matter expert in a particular domain, then your skills is your most important vital component. So if you want to lead, you have to be focused on your skills. If you are a person who is in the R&D or technology area, then you're not only your skills, your appropriate knowledge in the industry is also going to be vital. So as a leader, we have to be having a balance between the knowledge space and the skill space. You have to have both of them in large supplies. Moving forward, driven by commitment and passion, every leader who wants to aspire to become a leader must have this inner capacity to actually engage with people. And that can happen with passion and commitment. If somebody sees that you're committed and you're passionately moving ahead with your sincere efforts to do things, then others will come and others will line up with you, and they will also feel that here is a person who is doing things which are good for society or good for his or her business environment or his or her leadership journey, even if it's a political leadership journey. This person means business, and this person is demonstrating his perspective by actually building the trust of the people by doing these things and being passionate about it. So that's when you are in the mode or in the midst of a leadership aspiration, a leadership journey. Last but not the least, you have to be calm and collected. This is very important. Patience is virtue, we know that. And if you are calm and collected, and if nothing is bothering you most of the time, then people will feel confident around you. This is very important. As a leader, sometimes we get angry, we get frustrated, we show our tantrums, we throw tantrums at people, and we feel that I am in the position of power, so I can speak these things. Or you don't even realize that you are going in this abusive pattern and pushing people and hurting people's sentiment. these are not going to pan out well as in the context of becoming a true leader. You might somehow be in a position to navigate through the journey of yourself, but you will not be truly achieving this mantle of leadership. People will talk to you from the angle of fear. People will come to you based on just some activities, and they will try to leave you because they know that you are not in a person with appropriate behavior. So if something goes wrong, you will be using abusive language. So they will try to avoid you. They will just work with you just for the sake of getting things done, but they will be always trying to disassociate with you. So your leadership can never truly pan out. Your leadership can never truly grow when people are having this type of feeling. So you, as a professional, you must spend time thinking to yourself, what are the things that I am doing wrong? Am I being too harsh on my people? Is there a better way to go about this situation? Could I have spoken more softly, or could I have articulated the same issue with more logic, with more understanding of what's going on, rather than jumping in and berating others and showing my tantrums at people and using bad language and foul language? Could I have done things better? These are the journeys that you have to go through within your own inner self. So if you realize the shortcomings that you have, you should start building the next level of you. So you want to build a better you in the coming days. And if you are building these issues with clarity and knowing that there are ways to improve, and you're actually in that self journey to improve yourself, then eventually the leadership aspirations that you have will probably be coming, it probably will come about, in the sense that you will truly become a leader that you are thinking of becoming. People, you don't become a leader by dictating or making a statement that I've become a leader. You will know when you have become a leader when people start following you. So that's the issues that we had talked about for the leadership aspiration. Every person in their journey for self-development has to go through this leadership aspiration. If you don't, then you are not putting yourself to your greatest advantage. Every human being has a series of potential that we normally never get to use. So this is an perspective that if you play it out on a daily basis in your life from today, then you will see that in your journey for a better leader, you will see how you have molded yourself, how you're growing yourself. So take this journey, start thinking of areas of change that you can actually incorporate and build your next level of you moving forward. Leading by example. This goes without saying. You have to lead by showing particular example. You can't be all talk and no work. That will not be effective at all. So you have to show your strength. You have to show your leadership. So you have to show basically what I think I missed a word. Show your strength and sell your leadership. So you have to show your strength by actually doing things, and then sell your leadership. And that's when people will buy your leadership. The idea that you are a person of great strength, they will start relating to you, and they will start to effectively work with you, around you, and listen to you. Being honest and disciplined, then ask others to follow. If you are not honest to yourself, if you are not disciplined, if you don't follow any structure, then how will you be able to push others to be a disciplined person, an honest person? They will not follow you at all, because they know that you are not what you're saying. So do your thing first before you're asking others to do the same. Communicate what is truthful to build trust. You have to be constantly building trust. So example is that the trust factor should be there. So do things by example, where you can seriously show your trust factor, that it's out there, and you can be a truthful person, having a lot of trust that you are sharing with others. So that's when you truly become a person, and you're leading by example. Promote core philosophies that you follow. I follow a certain philosophy, and everybody else also follows a certain philosophy in running their lives. These are all logical perspectives, but if you are following this philosophy in your life, then you're actually leading by example. Then people will follow you. First, embrace change, then ask others. This is a very important notion. You need to be changing yourself first. You can't ask others to change before you change yourself. So that's important. For example, if you are shouting at your work, you are being angry with people, and you're using very negative language and curse language, then you can't ask someone to be soft and sweet and being very polite. That will not work out. So these are issues that if you are leading then you need to do these yourselves. If you're doing these things yourself, that's when only you can actually lead and make a statement, and then others will follow. So moving forward, leadership growth. This is the journey for your self-development. Know that it's not going to happen overnight. You have to take an incremental view, small steps every day towards the journey of self-development, towards the journey of moving yourself to the next level. So making small but meaningful steps every day. Learn from mistakes. If you don't learn from mistakes, then there is a possibility of going into the same trail of mistakes. So every day, if there is a mistake that you have done, try to analyze them, and don't sweep them under the floor. Get your analytical antennas out and try to explore what had gone wrong, and what could you have done to step out of the mistakes. And then this new learning you have within yourself, if the same set of consequences starts to come out, then you have now a better knowledge base to attack the problem. So learn from your mistakes. Engage and communicate for building trust. Trust building is a daily exercise. So if you want to lead, you are building trust amongst your community, amongst your compatriot, amongst your peers, amongst your colleagues, etc., and seniors. The trust building will make you a more vibrant leader, make you a more vibrant professional. Encourage open communication. Absolutely. If you're not open in terms of your communication, if you are being partial in some communication with some people, it will look negatively on you, and people will feel that you are not the right you're not a person with high ethical standards. People will think that you are shying away from certain issues, so they will not build their trust. They will feel that you have done something incorrect in terms of your communication. You're not an honest communicator. So if you are getting that tagline that you are not an honest communicator, then leadership will be a very difficult journey for you. You will not be able to lead. So a good leader must be very frank and open in terms of communication. You can't be hiding things. You have to be fair and open. If you are, in some cases, you may not need to share all the information. That's not hiding. You know what is appropriate for this context, and you only share those issues with this particular people or particular meeting. That's fine. But being honest during your conversation is very important. And last but not the least, a leader has to take risk. We have to embrace risk, and we had talked about leadership and risk taking extensively in our previous slides. But the whole point is that if you don't take risks, your growth as a human being will be slow. So taking risks opens opportunities. So you have to manage your risk, but you have to take risks to become a true leader. And in order to go through that leadership growth, risk taking is a must. So moving forward, I believe I have come to the end of the presentation. Yes, normally I end off with a $1 million question. So today's $1 million question is, how much energy should a leader spend on self-discovery and self-journey? It's very hard to tell, honestly, but I would say, I don't want to put a percentage, but if you are truly pushing me into asking for a percentage, I would say it should be an 80-20 rule. 20% of your time, you should be really focused on your inner journeys, the journeys where you can actually truly develop yourself as a human being, understanding who you are, what is your strength area. You don't want to just wake up every day and just move into the world. You need to spend 10 minutes of your time either in the morning or probably during the night before you go to bed. You can think of all the things that had happened in your life in that particular day, and what are the things that you're anticipating tomorrow. So if you can sort of calibrate these issues and sort of get a feel for what are the areas that you could have done better, then you are actually in the journey of self development, and you're discovering your inner strength, you're discovering your capacity, and you also may be discovering your areas of lag, areas where you actually have gaps. So if you are spending time in visualizing, understanding, and internalizing these knowledge, then you have an opportunity to develop yourself. Some of it might be in the area of skills, some of it might be in the area of effective communication, some of these might be in terms of your own personal behavior and your own mindset. Sometimes you might have to find a way to improve your way of internalizing frustration, how best to internalize those frustration and bounce back, because there are people in this world who are very bright people, but sometimes when they are faced with uncertainty, they break down. So what's the use of being bright and ultimately breaking down as a human being? There is no power, no strength in it. So these self journeys and self discovery perspectives you have to consider on a regular basis. So I would not say that this should be consuming 50% of your time, but definitely it should have a reasonable window within your own self through which you can actually develop your own areas of the strength areas, your areas of discomfort, and how to move about and what needs to be done, etc. So I would think that a good leader spends, based on based on their overall capacities, at least 10-20% of their time in the self-discovery and self-journey for truly becoming a proper leader. So with that, I would like to end today's session, and back to you, Edward Probir Mondal. I am Ziaur Rahman, CEO of IITM and adjunct faculty of IUB. Thank you very much for staying with us. Back to you.
All right, thank you very much, Advocate Ziaur Rahman, for your presentation and the valuable inputs and experience that you share with us. Yes, it's a very relevant topic at this present moment, that how we can go the self journey with leadership aspiration, leading by example, leadership growth. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts and your inputs. With that, we conclude our 61st episode, which is Leadership Speaker Series, Leadership and Self Journey. And we are welcoming you for our next session next week. As you know, we are running this every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, which is Calgary, Edmonton in Canada, and Eastern Standard Time, which is Ottawa, Toronto at 11 p.m. And in Dhaka, Bangladesh, it is on Thursday morning at 9 a.m. And in India, Indian Standard Time, it is 8:30 a.m. on Thursday morning. With that, thank you very much, and stay safe and stay blessed.